My sister mocked my husband's job for 3 years. Then she started dating a woman whose entire fortune came from doing that exact job. My husband Theo is a landscaper. He runs a small crew, mows lawns, builds retaining walls, plants gardens for people who can't tell a hydrangea from a weed. He works 12-hour days in the sun and comes home with dirt under his nails, and somehow still asks me about my day before he showers. He is, without exaggeration, the gentlest man I have ever met. My sister Priya has never once seen it that way. The first time Theo met my family, he showed up with a small potted lemon tree for my parents because I'd mentioned my mom missed the citrus trees from her childhood home. Priya took one look at his work boots still caked in mulch and said, "Did you bring us a tip from your last job or something?" Everyone laughed except me and Theo. That was the opening move. It never really stopped after that. Priya is a real estate broker, sells houses in the hills, and somewhere along the way decided that made her the family's arbiter of who counted as successful. She introduced Theo at my cousin's wedding as the guy who mows Priya's lawn, except he's never mowed her lawn. She just liked how it sounded. At Thanksgiving 2 years ago, she asked him, straight-faced, in front of my grandparents, if he'd ever considered doing something with an actual future. Theo just smiled and reached for the potatoes. In the car afterward, he told me it wasn't worth a fight, that he liked his life, that her opinion couldn't touch what he'd built. I wanted to scream. He never did. My mom would say, "Priya, that's enough," in the same tired voice every time, and Priya would say she was only teasing, and the teasing kept going for 3 years like a tap nobody bothered to shut off. Then, in April, Priya met someone. Suddenly, every conversation was about Renata. Renata ran a boutique investment fund. Renata drove a car I couldn't pronounce the name of. Renata, Priya announced at brunch, waving her phone around like a trophy, was finally somebody who actually gets what ambition looks like. She said it while looking straight at Theo. Here's the part Priya had no idea about, and I only found out because Theo came home one evening looking like he'd seen a ghost. One of his oldest clients, a woman on Ellery Street whose property he'd maintained for 4 years, the one who always left him iced tea on the porch in summer, had mentioned over the fence that she was seeing someone new, a broker named Priya. Theo had seen her photo on the woman's fridge that afternoon, Magnet holding it up next to a grocery list. My sister's dream girlfriend was Theo's client, and Theo knew something else, something the client, Renata, had told him herself more than once, while he trimmed her hedges and she sat on the porch steps talking because she said he was easy to talk to. Renata's fund was real, but it didn't start with family money or a finance degree. It started with a lawnmower she bought used for $200 and a flyer she stapled to telephone poles. 15 years of landscaping, one crew that grew into 4. A company she eventually sold to a national chain before she pivoted into investing the proceeds. There was a photo of her first mower in her home office, the one Theo dusted the frame of every few weeks. We debated warning Priya. We decided against it. Some things you have to walk into yourself. It took about a month. Priya brought Renata to my parents' anniversary dinner to parade her around. I watched Renata step into the backyard, spot Theo by the drink table, and break into a grin. "Theo, no way!" A hug. Then, to the whole table, delighted. "This man has kept my garden alive for 4 years. I used to do exactly what he does, actually. That's literally how I built everything. Started with one lawnmower." Priya's face did something I'd never seen it do before. My dad suddenly found his wine glass fascinating. My mom didn't even try to hide her smile. Renata didn't storm off. She did something better. She stayed the whole dinner, asking Theo genuine questions about soil and drainage while Priya sat there rearranging food she wasn't eating. Later, she quietly told Priya that if she wanted this relationship to continue, an apology was owed and it needed to be real. Priya gave it. Theo accepted it. He also mentioned, completely straight-faced, that his crew's spring schedule was filling up fast, but for family, he could probably squeeze her in.